Is California's mental health initiative living up to its lofty promises? Let's dive into the story behind Governor Gavin Newsom's ambitious vision and the real-world challenges that have emerged. 7 years ago, Newsom declared his goal to pursue audacious stretch goals, a mantra that shaped policies from housing reforms to mental health overhauls. One of his most high-profile projects, the Care Court program, designed to connect individuals with severe mental health crises and homelessness to treatment. But as new data reveals, the program's progress has been far slower than anticipated, sparking debates about accountability and effectiveness. And here's where it gets controversial. Did Newsom's optimism outpace the reality of implementing such a complex system? Let's unpack the numbers and the human stories behind them. The Care Court model, launched in 2022, aimed to enroll thousands of Californians in court-ordered or voluntary treatment plans. However, a recent investigation by CalMatters found that only hundreds of people have been served across the state, nowhere near the projected thousands. For example, San Diego County received 384 petitions but secured just 134 voluntary agreements in 2 years, falling short of its initial target of 250 cases. Los Angeles County, which filed the most petitions, 511, managed only 112 treatment plans, despite predicting 4,500 enrollments in year one. Worse, nearly half of all petitions were dismissed due to strict eligibility rules or difficulty tracking down unhoused individuals. And this is the part most people miss. Even when judges approve treatment orders, enforcing compliance remains a hurdle. Participants can still refuse services, and voluntary agreements lack legal teeth. As Tanya Fedek, whose son struggles with homelessness and addiction despite being accepted into the program, puts it, "It's our taxpayers' money. There's no accountability. My son is going to end up dead." But what's causing this disconnect between ambition and outcomes? State officials argue that Care Court requires time to scale, but critics point to systemic issues, rigid criteria that exclude many in need, logistical challenges in reaching transient populations, and the inherent difficulty of compelling someone to accept help after repeated refusals. Some question whether the program's focus on court intervention misses the root causes of homelessness and mental health crises. Could a more community-based approach, prioritizing housing and peer support, yield better results? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Is Newsom's strategy flawed, or does it simply need more time to mature? Shifting gears, another high-stakes legal battle is unfolding in California. A federal judge recently ruled that President Trump overstepped his authority by deploying National Guard troops in Los Angeles during protests last year. The decision, which blocks military involvement in crowd control until the administration provides a legal justification, has been hailed by cities like Oakland as a win against federal overreach. Yet, tensions remain. The U.S. Department of Justice has called the ruling a misleading injunction, while local leaders worry Trump may escalate his threats to send troops to other cities. Here's the twist. The judge acknowledged ongoing protests, but emphasized there was no rebellion to justify military action. How should states balance public safety with constitutional limits on federal power? Share your perspective below. Meanwhile, California cities are grappling with a different crisis, the rise of RV encampments. As Newsom's task force pushes to clear homeless encampments, municipalities are targeting vehicles parked on streets, citing public safety concerns. San Jose, for instance, recently began evicting residents from Columbus Park, where hundreds lived in cars and tents. Advocates warn that towing vehicles could push vulnerable populations further into homelessness, especially when owners can't afford storage fees. Yet local officials argue that these encampments fuel crime and waste. A pending state bill would make it easier for cities to dispose of abandoned RVs. This is the part that divides opinions. Should communities prioritize immediate cleanup over long-term solutions like affordable housing? What ethical lines are being crossed when cities criminalize homelessness rather than address its causes? Finally, a surprising development in higher education. A federal judge ordered the Trump administration to restore $584 million in suspended UCLA research grants. The dispute highlights the political tensions surrounding academic funding, with implications for scientific innovation. In a related move, Newsom's team is launching an aggressive ad campaign to promote a redistricting measure, while lawmakers rush to counter Trump's policies with new legislation. From offshore wind projects losing federal funding to AI-driven job cuts at Salesforce, California's policy landscape remains as dynamic and contentious as ever. So what's your take? Is Newsom's care court a case of noble intentions overshadowed by execution flaws, or does it reflect the broader challenges of tackling complex social issues? And in the fight against homelessness, should cities focus on enforcement or compassion? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We're all ears.